Well, a very good afternoon. Welcome once again to Les Sables d'Olonne, the west coast of France. It's a breezy, chilly afternoon here, and it's day 4 out on the race course. It's still super intense up in the front. There's one or two little winners and losers just in terms of small miles, but it's pretty small scale stuff at the moment. Johan Richomme is still out in front of the fleet. The fleet are about 140 miles northwest of the Canaries at the moment. Nicolas Lunven is up to second place. Then it's Thomas Riong, Jeremy Bayou and Sam Goodchild. Very close between them. It really is a La Solitaire du Figaro race at the front of the fleet. And problems in the fleet also. We're waiting to hear about Xabi Sabol-Weores had a problem yesterday, or the night before. He was knocked flat. He's a big hole in his mainsail. His A7, that's a very small high wind Gennaker, is wrapped around his forestay. So he's heading into Madeira, and we're waiting to hear. That's a story that's continuing. Also, Maxime Sorel, well, as we know, he has a problem with his mainsail car, which is stuck in a third reef, also with his mainsail hook, and so he's also heading towards Madeira. Still, the breeze has dropped for him, but there's still quite a seaway, so that he's going to try and get down towards Madeira. My guest today will have Alan Roberts online from home in France. Alan, how are you?
Hi, Andy. Yeah, very well, thanks.
Great stuff. So Alan, of course, is the co-skipper to Clarisse Cremer, who we're hoping to connect with live today. And I've got Nandor Fa in the studio, one of the Vendée Globe legends, first international skipper, non-French skipper ever to finish the race. He did 3 races, finished 8th in 2016-17. Nandor, welcome. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well.
Good stuff.
Just worrying about the picture I can see now.
Yeah, we're just all worrying about Xabi, who's you've mentored. Yeah. He's a very good friend of ours. But in the meantime, Sam Goodchild, as ever, gave us a reliable update this morning. And this is Sam on board Vulnerable.
Hello, Sam on Vulnerable. Queen and I just had some scrambled eggs for breakfast together. She's dancing, so having a lovely time. We've had a bit of a busy night with quite a few squalls and no wind, and then too much wind, and then broaching, and then all the fun stuff. And unfortunately we had more pilot troubles again, which is a bit tedious, but we're back up and running now, so we're just on our secondary pilot. It should be okay. And then when the wind comes down, I've been saying that for 2 days now, we'll try and fix them. But yeah, no, everything's under control, and I look forward to for a few less clouds in the sky.
So Sam Goodchild looking forward to less clouds in the sky. We're certainly hoping for that, but the weather situation in front of him is actually still quite cloudy, and there's going to be a very difficult passage down towards the Canaries. Anything can happen. Alan Roberts, what's your thoughts on Sam Goodchild's race so far?
Yeah, Sam's having a fantastic race. It's really good to see him at the front of the fleet. We saw in the races earlier this year, Sam's able to work really hard. He makes the sail changes ahead of time, so he's always pushing forward rather than reacting. He's definitely a leader in this act of the Vendée Globe so far. So I think the conditions have suited him with a lot of sail changes, jibes, and tactical decisions to make. And no, it's great to see him up there.
But this is a La Solitaire du Figaro race at the moment in terms of the intensity, despite the fact we've still got over 9.5 weeks of sailing to go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Vendée Globe is a long race. At the moment, the big race is down to South Africa, down to the Cape of Good Hope. So the guys will be pushing hard to try and get in front of a system or be as far advanced in a system as they can by the time they arrive down there, and then it's a race of sitting in, holding tight, and making sure that they can make it around with minimal damage. I guess the risk in this part is when the guys are pushing hard in solitaire mode, as you say, is that they damage things, they burn themselves out, and they take too much risk. But at the moment, Sam seems to be doing a really good job at that, and the guys at the top of the fleet are all the top Figaro sailors that we've seen over the last decade as well. So.
Indeed. Nandor, what's your thoughts on the race so far? It's incredible.
The race is incredible. The progress is very high on the front runners. It's fantastic to watch them. I cross my fingers for Sam also, because for a long time Alex was our hope. Now Sam is our hope. But also I really a fan of the French keepers as well, especially Johan Richomme, who is riding on the front at the moment. He's one of my favorite, but all of them I would like to see sailing safely and fast. Conrad, for example, is my favorite, one of my favorite in the
A former
board.
co-skipper of yours, of course.
Yeah, I was, and we were very close to each other, and still I cross my fingers for him. And there are some interesting moments which to follow. For example, Jean Le Cam's new boat and the new daggerboard boat, which wants to be competitive in the flying boats. We don't know at the moment, is it possible or not, but he tries. And this is really fantastic.
What was it like for you on Sunday? Obviously, you were here for the start. You've seen many, many starts. How did it compare?
There was absolutely no wind at the start, and 1 hour later came a very light northerly breeze, and it was interesting to see one part of the fleet was totally lack of sail, the other part started to run and was absolutely upside down. But after one day, everybody was on the place.
And the emotions, the crowds were massive. How did that compare to when you did it way back in the beginning?
The crowd was the same. Maybe the number was not the same, but the feeling was the same like now. It's always fantastic, and I guess this is only the place in the world which is possible, here in Sabdelon.
Thank you, Nandor. Well, the French media had a call this morning with, they spoke with Charlie Dallin, also with Maxime Sorel. So just give you a quick roundup of these two calls, say, from the French media. Interesting thing was that Charlie Dallin really seemed to be quite rattled and stressed, which is unusual for him. He said he did not sleep at all. He made all the bad choices that were possible. He said he was stopped by light winds. He really couldn't get the good jibes, which really have been the hallmark of his race so far. But he said that the beginning of the race is really like La Solitaire, as we're saying. And also the French media, had a chat with Maxime Sorel. He said that since the start, his race has been super complicated. He's had technical problems. He then hurt his ankle, which is still quite swollen, despite having taken the anti-inflammatories as advised by the race doctor. He said he can walk, but it's very, very painful. There's so much stress for me. He said, I'm trying to get to Madeira. The wind is lighter there, but still the seaway. So the problem really is this hook and the car on this on the mast. Maybe, Alan, you could explain for our Vendée Globe viewers who are not so familiar with the IMOCA. What's the system? How does it work? And what's Max's problems?
Yeah, so the mainsail is on a hook, as are a lot of the other sails. But here we're talking about the mainsail, which is the big sail at the back of the boat that sits above the helm station. It goes up the mast track, and at multiple points along the track, it has a hook system. And this is an array of teeth that engage into the mast and allow the mainsail to stay blocked at that position. So he seems to be having an issue where he can't take it off the hook. He's stuck on the lowest position, which is reef free. There's 3 reefs and a full main, so 4 different positions. And this means that he can't put more sail in the air to go quicker, and he can't take it down. So he's kind of blocked in this position. And the boats are incredibly technical with lots of small details, and this is a small one that's causing him a lot of performance degradation, effectively.
And indeed, obviously, as I say, we've got a very generic audience following this Vendée Globe. So what's the advantage in having it on a hook rather than keeping it on the halyard?
Yes, the advantage of the hook has multiple advantages. One, it's less compression down the mast, which means that because the mast is a structural element of the boat, so the less load you have running through it, the less likely you are to break it. And the main does also sit on a main halyard, which is a classical way of holding the mainsail up in the air. But this is a piece of rope. So this piece of rope, if we were to leave that holding the main all the time, it could wear, it could rub, and it could break. So it's part of gear preservation, but also allows you to gain more performance.
And Alan, how much has that technology advanced since the last Vendée Globe? Because, I mean, the hook problems have prevailed through the last 2 editions, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's similar technology that we're using now. The guys, it's small details that change in all of these elements. They're fiddly little parts. The main cell car probably measures about 30 centimeters, and within it, there's probably in the region
That's
of
right.
30 to 40 elements within there, whether they're small springs, hooks, bits of rope, or small axis that hold the elements in place. So each one of those has to be carefully and meticulously checked over all the time, and these elements are developing the whole time as we get more feedback from more sailors that use them. So they're being fine-tuned all the time, but they're by no means perfect, and they're living in a harsh environment. It takes us a bit of misuse, or we're living in an environment where we've got a carbon mast, a steel track, and aluminium parts. So there's a lot of mixing of different elements with salt water as well, which is pretty aggressive on them.
Great, Alan. We're going to join, hopefully, Nicolas Lunven, the new holder of the 24-hour distance record on board the Holcim PR. That's where we can just see Nico, a quick position update. Nico, how are you?
Hello, thank you. I am very fine. The beginning of the race is perfect. We are downwind since the start in nice condition, with a bit of tough condition along the Portuguese coast up to Madeira almost. Also last night was a bit tough, but now it's very pleasant sailing condition, downwind, with the temperature start to be warm. It's sunny, flat sea state, so very, very nice and perfect.
So Nico, talk to us about this record. How do you feel about it? And just describe the conditions. Were you aware that you were on record pace when it was happening?
Yes, so it was, to be honest, it was a bit a surprise for me, because I was not absolutely not expecting this record. I was not there for that, to be honest. But I am very happy, of course, very proud on the thing that the boat is fast, and we were able to sail pretty well with the boat.
So how's it looking in front of you, Nico? This is very much your conditions that you like, difficult, tricky conditions coming up.
You mean looking ahead of us?
Yes, it's difficult down to the equator.
Yeah. It's going to be quite difficult, because the wind is going to be quite light. We have a big high pressure system just in front of us, and we need to find the best spot to cross this light wind area, and then to sail south, still in light wind, toward the equator.
Yeah, Nico, and how do you feel about being up to second place?
I am very, very happy. It's super nice to fight in the leading group. Quite interesting, because the fleet is still very, very tight all together. So very interesting, very pleasant, of course. I hope it's going to stay like that, of course. But the race is going to be very, very long. So right now we are sailing in nice conditions. So it's easy to push the boat at maximum potential. But at one stage, when we will be in the Southern Ocean and the weather condition will be tough, of course the competition will be a bit less important at one stage, and it will probably be more important to have more seamanship skills, and take care of the boat, take care of the skipper as well, to make sure everything is in one piece to finish the race.
That's fantastic, Nico. And I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think your record will hold to the end of the race?
I think today our boats are very, very fast, and I think we can still do better than that, I'm pretty sure, because, as I said, I was not expecting this record, and the weather condition was very nice for that. But I would say nice, but not perfect. If at one stage we can find a better weather spot, for sure the record will be better than what I did.
Fantastic. Nico, such a pleasure to catch up with you. We've got a long time ahead of us, so I hope we'll catch you regularly on board Holcim PRB. All the very best, Nico.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So that's Nico Lunven up to second place, new holder of the 24-hour distance record. I believe that we also have now online Clarisse Cremer on board L'Occitane en Provence. Clarisse, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm not hearing you so well. I'm still understanding my video system. Sorry.
Say that again, sorry, Clarisse.
Do you see me?
Yeah, we can see you and can hear you. There we go. Lovely, fantastic. How lovely to see you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm still understanding my camera system.
Ah, you look good anyway.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
How's things? How's life on board L'Occitane en Provence?
Well, it's quite a happy life. I've had a few issues. The major one was to lose my big Janaker and all the system attached to it, so I was quite disappointed, especially because it was not my fault. A line broke and then everything accelerated, and I got in a pretty shitty situation, excuse me for the word. But apart from that and all the small technical issues I have to monitor, everything is fine. I'm settling in my race, and I've taken it day after day, and it's quite crazy to see the difference in my spirit compared to the last Vendée Globe.
Clarisse, are you enjoying it? Are you having fun?
Look at my boat. How can you not have fun?
Listen, we've got Alan Roberts with you, who's going to say a quick hello.
Alan is here?
Yeah, hello Clarisse, how's it going?
Ah, cool. Have you seen the boat? It looks nice, huh?
Yeah, I love the video system.
I'm having fun with the camera, to be honest.
Clarisse, are you missing Alan?
Sorry?
Do you miss Alan?
Yeah, well, it's true that if we were the two of us on the boat, it would be a bit easier. But I would probably not have let my big Janaker fall in the water, so I will be a bit less sad, but it's not the journey of the Vendée Globe, so I'm happy to be alone on my boat, even if it's always nicer with a friend.
And Clarisse, how do you feel about your performance so far?
Well, it's mixed feelings about the performance, because obviously I think I could be a bit more ahead if I had not these 2 big hours completely stopped when I was trying to deal with my big Janaker. But I'm happy. I'm happy to be here, and I think I have plenty of time to do better if I can.
Good. And what's the weather ahead of you? There seems to be a chance of some compression with the boats in front.
Yes, there is, but it's also maybe a moment where I will need my big Janaker, so it's a bit of a tricky situation for me. But yes, it's far from being over. I will have a bit of technical things to do when the wind will be really really low, because I have quite a few things to manage because of what happened on my boat with the big Janaker. So yeah, it's a tricky situation with the trade winds not really being settled, and with the low pressure kind of absorbing everything from the top. So I'm trying to spend time on the weather, but it's true that the race has been super busy, so I haven't spent as many hours as I would have loved on the weather. And
you're quite close with Tanguy. He's just a little bit ahead of you, or he was.
I think we are just we saw each other on the AIS this morning, so that was nice. And yes, but my objective is to be ahead of him, so I'm not so happy.
I have to follow the race, Clarisse.
Sorry?
I have to follow the race, remember.
Yes.
But anyway, Alan, a quick word for Clarisse before we leave her.
No, I think it's been a good start, and compared to your last Vendée, it's been a very different start. How do you look forward to the next segment of the race, Clarisse?
Well, hopefully, the next segment of the race should be a bit more easy. a bit more sleep and a bit more food and a bit less of problems. But I try not to project myself too much. That's what I've learned from offshore racing.
Great stuff. Clarisse, a pleasure as always to talk with you, and hopefully in a few days we'll catch up with you on L'Occitane en Provence. Sail fast and sail safe.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well done. So, Alan, good to see Clarisse smiling.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's, well, like we said for Sam, it's been a pretty intense start to the race. The guys haven't had a lot of rest, and guys and girls haven't had a lot of rest. And I suspect they're all looking forward to, I can see that she had her shoes off, so it looks like it's warming up a bit. And they're going to be looking forward to a bit calmer breeze and be able to fix all the small elements on the boats that have been breaking and look after themselves a bit, get some sleep in, get some food in, and probably take their first wash of the race.
What's it been like with you? It's been quite a bumpy ride for Clarisse coming into this race. What's it been like for you and the team?
It's not been easy. The project came together quite late, so it came together at the beginning of last year. I joined them straight after the ocean race, and we didn't have any margin for error. So, you know, we had to qualify Clarisse the boat and learn it at the same time, which, you know, wasn't an easy game to play, but we got there. We had a few other speed bumps along the way, both on the water and off the water, but the team dealt with it really well, and we formed quite a solid link with Clarisse, which has, I think, helped her build and develop. And I think going into this Vendée Globe, she's definitely more experienced and I think a better sailor than she was going into the last Vendée Globe. And at the start of this race, as we saw, as Nandor said, the conditions were quite light, and this meant they were able to go out with low stress, knowing that they weren't going to be crossing a front and into a low pressure, that it was going to be expensive on the boats and on the humans.
We'll come back to you in just a few seconds, Alan. We're going to have a quick look at the weather. This is Andy versus the touch screen. Day 2, getting a little bit better. And this is the weather situation as of just now on Thursday. This is the situation looking at the fleet. Well, the leaders down here coming down towards this high pressure system, they're getting into much more erratic winds. In particular for the foiling boats means that some can foil from time to time, others are much slower and not foiling. That really explains the discrepancy, the differences between speeds and over the period, certainly off this morning, and they're getting slower as they come down. Meantime, up at the back of the fleet, well, they're still in the edge of this low pressure system in a strong northeasterly and northerly breeze, still 25-30 knots for the boats at the back of the fleet, and a little bit less breeze in the middle of the fleet. So that's the situation as of this morning. And then let's look at our animation. You can see here we're routing Jeremy Bayou here on the black boat. Benjamin Ferry is the yellow boat, and out here Denis van Veenberg, who is our Belgian skipper. And you will see that as time goes on, you'll see that, let's say, Chiral comes down just coming down this narrow corridor of breeze, and you'll see that Chiral comes down into the lighter breezes. He's going out to the west a little bit, looking for the jibing point, which will probably be Saturday or Sunday. And out here, you can see that they start to compress a little bit, and compression here with Benjamin Ferry catching up all the time coming into the weekend as they get into this lighter breeze. So really, great situation for the boats behind, and not so good, very tricky, very shifty for the boats in front going into the weekend. So I say getting better every day, as is the weather for the leaders. So Alan Roberts, 4 years' time, you're hoping to be out there.
Yeah, that's the aim, Andy. It's I've been doing done my stint in Figaro, and I've been playing around with the Imocas now for the last six years or so. So I feel ready to be out there, but it's pretty inspirational to see the guys and girls out there now, and to see especially Sam Goodchild right at the front of the fleet. But got to keep working on finding my project. Well, fingers crossed, Alan. Hopefully you'll join us all the way through this race. Thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, Andy.
So that's Alan Roberts. So Nandor, talk to us about the early days. I mean, you started way back. I think you slept in the car to start with, didn't you?
At the beginning, yes. That was for years. We came here and slept in the car and studied how to keep going.
Ah, merci beaucoup. Ouais, merci. À la prochaine.
Oh, and what was that like? How did you get into your first boat in the Vendée Globe?
I built a boat, a 60-footer racing boat for the BOC Challenge in 1990. And when I finished that race, after that I took the boat home and changed a lot of things, mast, keel, inside construction, and prepared for the second Vendée Globe in 92, 93. And I came back, but still, of course, with a shoestring budget. Mostly I made everything myself, and that was a very fascinating program in that time. I was young, and I could make everything myself, and I was here. And I was very proud to be the first non-French skipper to finish the Vendée Globe. And from that background to make this achievement, that was, for me also, it's incredible. Just watching back, I'm wondering how it came.
And of course, 2016, you finished 8th with an incredible race.
Yeah, that was my first race in my life to finish without any major problem. So all the time I had serious problems. In 16, I had no any serious problem, just some small technical issues. But with the sails, with the tactic, with the boat itself, I had no problem. I could sailing well, and I could concentrate on sailing, not on repairing something, just concentrating on sailing. And that was fantastic and enjoyable, as long as everything is all right. If starts to be problems, it's not so much enjoyable.
Indeed, but I mean, it was a tremendous race and a tremendous result to be proud of, 8th place. So Nandor, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you maybe towards the end of the race. You'll be back. You have a house here in Les Sables d'Olonne, don't you?
Yeah, I will.
So we caught up this morning with Pip Hare. This is Pip speaking to us on the early vacation. Comment ça va?
Much better, thank you, actually. Yeah, found a bit of rhythm today, which is quite nice. Been a squally night, lots and lots of clouds and gear changes and stuff. But yeah, this morning I've been able to do a bit of sleeping and I've got a nice rhythm. Got to do a sail change later in the day, so I'm trying to work out when to do that at the moment.
And have you done a little bit of eating as well, I hope?
A bit, yeah. It's still quite hard at the moment about the food going. How much am I supposed to be eating? So yeah, I mean, I'm eating a bit, yeah. And I've got a big box of cherry tomatoes, which I'm making my way through. They make me happy.
Good for you. There's no protein in cherry tomatoes, though.
Beef tomatoes? I could make a joke about beef tomatoes there, couldn't I?
Exactly. So you're generally a little bit happier. Are you happier with your position and your strategy? You're out in the west now, which seems to be good.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's not simple at all. Kind of looking ahead, and there's a balance between kind of, you know, going out on the limb and then trying to not to take too much risk. But yeah, generally, I feel kind of out in the west the better option at the moment, and I'm just trying to keep looking and keep kind of hedging a little bit, but most of all just sailing fast, you know, kind of having been behind. Then my job now is to kind of use the foils that we put a lot of effort into to kind of maximize speed and sail as fast as I can.
And we're seeing a little bit of compression ahead. The leading boats should slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is tight racing, isn't it? And that's why kind of I'm pondering on you know, when you slow down to make a sail change at the moment, you lose such a lot of miles against other people. It being this close together with everyone is really exciting, but it does make you think about, you know, doing things in a slightly different way.
I mean, and Pip, we're coming into day 4. Just compare how you feel just now physically and mentally to 4 years ago in day 4.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always knew this race was going to be completely different, and it absolutely is. I mean, I think day 4 of the last race, we'd crossed our second front, and those fronts were awful. I remember just being down below, watching the wind go up to 50 knots and the boat just crashing and bashing and shaking. And I think I was just glad to get, you know, by the time we got onto day 4, we were at the other side of the fronts, and I was just glad to have made it. And now, you know, we're already down at Madeira. The pressure's very much on kind of everywhere in terms of the proximity of the pack, but also the fact that we're looking at some fairly dead-looking trades ahead of us.
So that's Pip Hare, I think, in 24th place just now, but a good form getting into the rhythm of the race. Let's have a quick look before we finish at the rankings this midday. So the classement, the standings at midday today. We can see that Johan Richomme is actually, he's about 8 miles ahead. Nicolas Lunven has moved up to second place, coming down that west side, going very fast. A nice, simple, clear course. Probably flatter water for him as well, but he's up to second. Thomas Rion now up to third. Jeremy Bayou in fourth. Fifth now Sam Goodchild. Sam's moved up a place. The key loser just now has been Charlie Dallin. We spoke with him earlier on in the day, and he really sounded quite upset. It's been very erratic for him. Been under a few clouds, so he's in 6th at the moment, moving up the ranking, or moving down the ranking, sorry. Boris Herman in 9th, who we spoke to. He said he was just alongside Justine Metro, who's in 10th. Giancarlo Padotti going very nicely indeed, the Italian in 15th. Sam Davis in 16th. Conrad Coleman is going to the east and south of Madeira. Interesting strategy, but we'll see how that plays out over the next few hours. Pip Hare, who we spoke today, is in 23rd. Kojiro Shiraishi 26th. Alan Rura 27th. The other internationals, Ollie here in 32nd. Maxime Sorel, who's got these problems, obviously in 33rd. Isabel Josh 35th. And then Denny van Veenberg and Jinku Chu, Jackie in 39th and 40th. So that's the ranking at midday today. So the great thing then, still 40 boats out on the water on day 4 of the Vendée Globe. Nandor Fa and Pip Hare living on cherry tomatoes. It's not good.
Not enough, I guess.
Not enough, is it?
Not enough. Needs much more energy. Tomato is not enough energy, so she needs some other food as well, hopefully.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining me, Nandor. Join us tomorrow, same time, same place. Hopefully, my guest then will be Mike Golding, who's at sea, but not on the Vendée Globe. See you then.